Hi, good morning, and welcome to Wednesdays with Doug. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Very good, Tammy. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. So, today we're going to tackle one big question, and that question has come up very often because it's handled different throughout the state of California. The question is today, when should a seller get inspections? Doug, so when should the seller get the inspections?
The There's lots of ways to do this, and historically, and still in most of this state, we wait till we get an offer accepted before even ordering inspections and getting them done. Most transactions are contingent upon the buyer accepting the property, either uh, before they write the offer or before they're totally committed. If we don't have good inspections and that sort of thing, the buyer almost has to have a contingency for that. In the South Bay, both Contra Costa, all the way down through San Jose and the South Bay and up the peninsula, we've adopted a different way of doing things, and we keep running into it with agents from out of state. We just about always get all the inspections done up front. That way, a buyer can review them before they even make their offer. They know with the status of the property. When they don't, when those aren't available, what happens is, um, buyer, you go through all this negotiations and you get it all settled. Then you get these inspections, and there's surprises that pop up. And a buyer says, "Wow, what have I done?" And hopefully they've kept themselves a contingency to either renegotiate or withdraw from the transaction without penalty. So we we want to get those done up front. Like I say, we're doing that as a matter of policy now. We almost always do that. Get those inspections done up front. A lot of agents, I'm afraid to say, use that as maybe kind of an underhanded way of negotiating. In a multiple offer situation, if you don't have inspections, if you don't, or if they're dated or very poor, you almost have to have a contingency in there. And so you get a multiple offer situation. An agent will representing some buyers will come in very high, maybe well over what everybody else could possibly even be. Get their offer accepted, then get the inspections or get review inspections or something like that. Then they find any problems at all with the property. All the other offers have now gone away, and so you're now stuck with this buyer and renegotiating, and maybe that seller's not going to get the best deal.
So it sounds like you're going to put the property to a disadvantage if you don't have inspections up front.
Certainly put the seller at a disadvantage in negotiations.
Oh,
That's for
wow.
sure.
So, one of the things the seller should look for when they are interviewing an agent for the job of selling their home is are they going to get inspections done up front?
It's certainly a thing that agents should recommend. And there's several termite companies, pest control companies in town that will do those inspections and bill escrow. A lot of times there just isn't enough money, from the sellers. I do a lot of trusts and probates, and then often there just isn't the funds to do it. But these companies will bill the escrow, so nobody needs to pay for it
Oh,
up
so there's
front.
nothing up front they need to pay for.
Correct, correct.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So just circling back around and recapping everything, it's important for a seller to keep their property, just to have high negotiation power, is to get their inspections done up front and make sure they're working with an agent who has this same mindset of getting inspections done up front,
Exactly,
correct?
exactly.
Okay, and again, can you go over some of the issues that can happen if you don't get inspections, like specifically?
Surprises. Very often a home will look perfectly fine. It'll look good. A buyer will look at it. Maybe it's not very old. Maybe it's been remodeled. And I hate to say it, we're really finding this with a lot of these flips where people came in and did a very poor job of buying property, fixing it up, and getting it back on the market and do some pretty shoddy work that may not be evident. So a buyer can come in and find out, um, get if he's got good new inspections, they'll tell him that the cabinet doors don't line up or doors don't actually open and close as they should,
Oh, wow.
or a laundry room, as we ran into last year, where they were remodeling and they created a new indoor laundry room in the center of the house, but it turned out they kind of ran out of space, so they made it a little too small, not noticeably until you tried to put a washer and dryer in there and found out you couldn't. So somebody would have, a good professional inspection would have caught that there probably wasn't final permits in there, and it wasn't correctly correctly done. All kinds of things that can come up with by a professional inspector.
Okay, wonderful. So at the end of the day, one of the most important things that you can do is, if you're listing a house, is definitely get your inspections done up front, because it keeps you in the position of having negotiation power, correct?
Correct, exactly.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Doug, thank you so much for tackling this issue, because we know this comes up often in the Bay Area.
Yep.
And you know what? I look forward to speaking with you next Wednesday. And thank you, Doug, for coming here.
Thank you, Tammy.
Okay, and we'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.